From tiny islands and dangerous neighborhoods to cancer battles, secret trials, and parents who did everything to stop them playing. Women's football is full of backstories that sound too unbelievable to be true. But trust me, the deeper you go, the crazier it gets. Here are 15 women footballers with insane backstories. We're starting with pure fate. 8-year-old Jess Nez didn't even mean to become a footballer that day. She and her dad were literally driving past a pitch when they spotted a random girls' tournament. Her dad jumped out and casually asked, "Can she join in?" Jess jumps in, scores a couple of goals like it's nothing. And suddenly scouts are pulling her and her dad aside. She's buzzing because she thinks she's joining a local team. Then they tell her it's Tottenham. One lucky left turn, and boom, her entire life changed. And speaking of making your own big breaks, sliding into 14, 11-year-old Nikita Paris couldn't find a local team for her and her friends to play in, so they created their own from scratch, Kingsley United. Her family helped run it. Kids joined from everywhere, and somehow this DIY club actually won a league. It's a true underdog story, and that confidence and determination, of course, she carried it all the way to England caps and Champions League heights. But while Nikita built her own opportunities, number 13 was grinding harder than almost anyone. At number 13, we have Beth England, from age 17 to almost 20. Beth worked at a chippy, starting at 10 p.m. and finishing at 5 or 6 a.m. The only problem, she had football training later in the morning. So she slept for a few hours, grabbed her boots and cracked on. And that wasn't her only job during this period. A bakery, a factory, M&S, an Indian restaurant. Because playing for Donnie Bells, she only earned £150 a month. Eventually, she grafted her way to a fully pro contract and into the England squad. And if you think that grind is impressive, number 12 had to fight her own family just to play. At number 12, we've got Asisat Oshula, who basically lived the real version of Bend It Like Beckham. Her parents were totally against football. They wanted her to study to become a lawyer, so Oshula lied. She snuck out, played in boys' leagues under fake names, hid her boots, all just to get minutes on the pitch. And it's a good job she did. Fast forward to today, and she's won African Player of the Year multiple times and smashed it at teams like Arsenal, Barcelona, and now Bay FC. And if family pressure wasn't enough, number 11 took on poverty and the entire world telling her no. At 11, we're talking about the legend herself, Marta. Growing up in poverty in rural Brazil, she learned football the same way you learn to run. Barefoot. She'd chase the ball in a creek, use rocks and sticks for goalposts. And if little Marta and her pals didn't have a ball, they'd play with balled-up plastic bags. People told her football wasn't for girls. They mocked her, doubted her, tried to stop her. She kept going anyway, and became arguably the greatest women's footballer ever. And speaking of greatness, the legend at number 10 started her journey on an island barely wider than your average town. At number 10, we have Wendy Renard, who grew up on a tiny Caribbean island called Martinique, just 8 kilometers wide. As a little girl in a French province, she dreamed of playing for the national team one day, but people told her it was basically impossible. It was too far away, too expensive, too ambitious. But she left home at 15, moved across the world alone, and chased the dream. She ended up becoming France's most decorated player ever, receiving 7 Champions League titles with Lyon. Moving halfway across the world like Wendy Renard means living on public Wi-Fi, which is risky. But Surfshark encrypts your connection, so your data stays safe no matter where you use your devices. Plus, if you want to watch football or any other content from back home, Surfshark lets you connect to a server in your home country and stream like normal. Don't miss out on any matches while traveling. Join Surfshark using the link in the description today to get an 88% discount and 3 months extra. And while distance was Wendy's biggest obstacle, number 9 faced danger the moment she stepped on a football pitch. Our number 9 spot goes to Vivianne Miedema, because her origin story is absolutely wild. Viv grew up scoring goals before she could even spell football. She was a legit child prodigy, scoring 22 goals for the Netherlands under-17s as a young teen. She signed her first professional contract at 14. But here's the madness. When she was just 6, a ball knocked her front teeth out during a match, and she still kept playing. But while Viv had 2 battle freak injuries, number 8 was overcoming something she deals with every single day. At number 8, England keeper Hannah Hampton grew up with an extremely rare eye condition called strabismus that affects depth perception. Any normal person would have said, okay, yeah, goalkeeper might not be for me. But Hannah? She doubled down. She retrained how she judges distance. She adapted to the way her eyes work, and she climbed all the way to stardom with Chelsea. Oh, and she happens to be a penalty-saving national hero. And if that sounds impossible, number 7 came back from surgeries that would have ended most careers. Kicking off number 7, Lucy Bronze. Before most players even break into senior football, Lucy had already gone through 4 knee surgeries before she turned 18. But over the years, Lucy kept coming back, kept training, kept believing. She even used her sports science knowledge to devise her own recovery program. She didn't just survive those setbacks. She became one of the best defenders of a generation. You can see where Bronzy gets her grit. And while Lucy fought her own body, number 6 fought heartbreak that nearly ended her love of football. 6. We've got Fran Kirby, whose entire life changed at 14, when her mom passed away unexpectedly. The grief hit so hard she stepped away from football completely. She was a kid dealing with adult-level heartbreak, depression, and the feeling that the future she imagined had just collapsed, but football slowly became her way back. She fought her way into Chelsea, became a fan favorite and one of England's most creative and technically gifted players ever. Number 5's story is also almost too painful to believe. At 5, Khadija Bunny Shaw's story is heartbreaking and heroic. Growing up in a dangerous neighborhood, Spanish Town, Jamaica, Bunny lost 4 brothers and 2 nephews to violence and accidents. Most people wouldn't recover from one tragedy. She lived through 6. Football became her escape, her motivation, her lifeline, and from that trauma, she rose to become one of the world's leading goal scorers. Now to another player who found an escape through football. Farrah Williams, England's most capped player ever, spent 7 years homeless from age 17. She lived in hostels, moved constantly, and hid everything from her teammates and coaches at Charlton Athletic and Everton. She trained, played, and represented her country, all while having no stable place to sleep. And, of course, she defied the odds to become one of the most recognizable faces in English football as a pundit. Now we enter the top 3, with backstories so crazy they're hard to believe. At 3, we're talking about Mary Fowler, and this one hits hard. Her family was struggling so much at times, she and her 4 siblings had to sleep in tents or their car. They lived a nomadic lifestyle, moving from country to country. But one thing that remained constant for Fowler was sports. At just 15 years old, she got her first senior national team call-up for Australia, while most teens are deciding their GCSE options. She was lining up with the Matildas. Speaking of tough backstories, number 2 lived through a nightmare. Nadia Nadim's story is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in Afghanistan, everything changed for Nadim when her father was tragically killed by the Taliban. Her family fled the country, eventually ending up in a refugee camp in Denmark. Nadia discovered football by watching girls through a fence and desperately wanted to join them. As the years went on, football became a lifeline and the talented young player became Denmark's first naturalized citizen to play for the national team. As if that wasn't enough, the talented individual earned her medical degree alongside playing for teams like PSG and Racing Louisville. Moving on to number 1, we have yet another unbelievable comeback. Linda Caicedo realized her dream of becoming a professional footballer at 14, but just 1 year later, tragedy struck, and she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. This led to surgery, recovery, and a complete pause on the career that had only just begun. But she came back, stronger, sharper, and by 18 she was one of the breakout stars of the 2023 World Cup, scoring goals for Colombia that millions watched on repeat. Linda beat cancer and then went on to dominate the world stage. These players didn't just rise, they fought, struggled, survived, and carved their own paths.
Hey footy fans, you'll love what we have coming up. Subscribe and get notified when the next video drops.